All right, Crush, here is your Tuesday workout. So we're gonna have two strength parts to start, both fairly short in duration, and then we're gonna go into an AMRAP. So the first one's gonna be 10 minutes to find a heavy behind the neck split jerk. A lot of people don't like the behind the neck stuff. The reason we do behind the neck is it is a lot easier, it should be a lot easier to take that weight as you dip and drive to drive it straight overhead. As you dip and drive straight overhead, your face isn't in the way. If the bar is in the front of you and you want to drive that bar straight overhead, your chin gets in the way, your face gets in the way. You have to either pull that face out of the way to go straight up overhead or somehow kind of look back to get that bar to go straight overhead. If you're getting heavy and you have to go around your face, it's just harder to lift that weight. It's much harder to take a bar and lift like this versus just straight up. So if you put that bar on your back and hit that, it's gonna be a lot easier to get that weight overhead. Now 10 minutes, it's gonna be a good time for the vast majority of people at the gym right now just to work on a split jerk. We're gonna do split jerks today. We're gonna work on that fast feet. And we'll take some time as we warm up on Tuesday, working on the drill to kind of work those feet and push yourself under that bar as you drop underneath it. If you do really good, my heaviest ever where I've taken weight from my shoulders to overhead was a behind the neck split jerk. That's the most weight I've ever gotten overhead was when I did that technique. So some of you maybe will get heavy if you're kind of good and proficient at that, but I'm gonna take 10 minutes only to find that heavy behind the neck split jerk. If it's your first time doing splits, you might do lighter reps and work on bringing that bar back down. There's a technique to that too when you have the heavy weight overhead to be able to bring it down your shoulders and be comfortable getting it back on there, getting back on the rack. Or if we're doing sets of one, it's lightweight, maybe you can start in the back and then you bring it down and bring it back to the front and put it up. But then after that, we're gonna transition pretty quick to finding a 5-rep max overhead squat. So let's take this back to the weight belt. For the weight belt today, 5 overhead squats. There is not a better squat to work your core than the overhead squat. Squats in general are a great way to work your core and strengthen your core. And the overhead squat's gonna be the epitome of doing that because you have to stabilize that weight overhead while you maintain that depth in the squat and squatting down. Your core that's exactly what your core is meant to do. It's not meant to do sit-ups. It's meant to stabilize your trunk and resist bending forward or backwards or resisting side to side. It's meant to keep your spine nice and neutral. That is what your core is meant to do. So if you can do the 5 overhead squats, probably not gonna get so heavy, really super heavy because it's 5, do all of them with no belt, never use a belt. Practice keeping yourself nice and tight, filling that tummy with air. When you get to the bottom of the squat, try not to lose your stability. With an overhead squat, it's really key not to lose your stability and have what we call a butt wink. Not reach any lower with your butt, just to break your core and try to stand back up. Keep yourself nice and tight and engaged for those 5 reps. No weight belt. This is a great place to not rely on the weight belt today is the 5 overhead squats. If you have to have a weight belt because you feel your back is twinging while you're doing overhead squats, let's look at your squat and see if make sure we don't have a butt wink. Or we don't have a super hyperextended spine because you can't get your hips, your ankles open up enough to where you can get your chest upright. If you're trying to get your torso upright, you can't get your torso upright because you need to have your torso upright to hold that squat overhead. If you can't do that and to accomplish that, you're overarching your spine. Now your core is not engaged, and we can look at that as well as a way to help support that spine and make sure you're not hurting the lower back. Great spot today to not use your overhead, not use a belt. It's only 10 minutes. You can at least work on the form and not use a belt. For the AMRAP, we'll come away from the rig. We got lightweight today. We got 20 overhead squats at 95-65 and 20 shouldered overhead at 95-65. It's a lot of reps at a weight that a lot of people, maybe the first round you can do the 10 overhead squats unbroken, maybe the 20 overhead or shoulder overhead unbroken, but soon thereafter you probably start breaking up those sets. And then the catch is every 2 minutes, including the start, we're gonna do 50 mountain climbers. When we get done with the score today, the mountain climbers don't include, those aren't reps you're gonna include in your score. Your AMRAP, how many rounds and reps you can get of the 20 and 20. The mountain climbers are just in there for some fun. I thought 12 minutes of just overhead squats and shoulder overhead would be kind of monotonous. Toss in those little sprinkle in some of those mountain climbers. Should be pretty quick, 50 of them should go pretty fast. Work that core. And makes it a little more interesting 12-minute AMRAP. That is your Tuesday. Stay away from the belt today. You don't need it, especially you don't need it for the AMRAP. You shouldn't need a belt for the overhead squats at 95-65 and 20 shoulder over at 95-65. You shouldn't need it. That should be a lightweight. You definitely shouldn't need a belt for the AMRAP. Have a good Tuesday.